Hello, hello. Sorry. Hello, hello. How are you guys doing? Welcome to your last reading lesson. What? Congratulations, you guys are almost through this year. So proud of each and every one of you guys for sticking it through, even with these challenges that have popped up from March until now, right? You guys are doing such a good job. Now, today, guys, we're talking about our family trees, which is going to be kind of a fun assignment. I hope you guys enjoy it. So, remember, we're not reading today. So you just need your family tree workbook page, which looks like this. It's page 227 and 228. All right. All right, let's look at your directions. Again, no reading today, just some research depending on what you decide to do. All right. So the instructions say research family history about yourself, one of your ancestors, or a famous American. It can be either three, any of those three, all right? Find information online or by interviewing a parent, grandparent, or an older family member and create a family tree from this research, all right? So here's what you're going to do. You can pick yourself if you want to. To me, that seems like the easiest idea. However, if you don't want to do yourself, you'd rather do your mom or your grandma or your grandpa or grandma, that's fine as long as you have that information available to you. If you don't have the information needed for the project, then you can't do them, okay? If you'd rather pick a famous American to do a family tree on, that's fine too, like we did Abraham Lincoln's yesterday, right? Now, he is not available. Since we already researched into him, I want you to pick someone new. So not Abraham Lincoln, someone else. But again, it's probably going to be easiest if you just do your own. All right, so let's look. The first sentence says, person I am researching. You put down whoever you're researching. For me, I did this assignment too, just to show you an example. So I did myself. So I would say Danessa Perry, full name, right? Date of birth. My date of birth is December 21st, 1991. Date of death, I have not died yet, so I'm going to leave that blank. If it's someone that is still alive, you can leave that blank. If the person you picked has died, then you'll fill it in with you can put the month, the day, and the year, or you can just put the year. The year is the important part. And then websites visited or persons interviewed. So for me, for myself, I didn't know all of the stuff. I had to ask my parents about birth and death dates for my grandparents. So I would put my mom and my dad's names for people interviewed, right? I didn't go on a website, although actually I probably did. I did go on a website. That's so funny. I went on a website for a long time. I had a subscription to Ancestry.com, and my husband and I actually created family trees for both of our families. So I did go and check that out as well. So I use Ancestry.com also. So that's where I would put that. Now, in this picture right here, guys, it's just showing you a basic layout of how your family tree should look. Now, you can use circles or you can use squares. I guess not squares. I use rectangles instead of circles because it was just easier to fit the names and the dates in a rectangle than it is in a square. You can use either one. Look at your family history checklist down below. So again, this is just an example of how it should look. You don't need to do anything for this page or this part right here. Down below, number 1, research online or interview people to find information. I did that. I talked to my mom, I talked to my dad, and I looked on Ancestry.com. Number 2, draw a blank family tree on WorkText page 228, the back side of the page we're on. I did that. Fill in the family tree with at least 3 generations. Look at this, 3 generations. There's 3 rows. So grandma, grandpa, mom, and dad, and then kids, all right? 3 generations. And I did that. Actually, I have 4 generations on mine because I have kids, right? You guys are good with only 3, all right? Number 4, include the first, middle, if known, and last names of each person identified. I just did the first and the last names. I did not put any middle names because I didn't have much room. So you don't need to do middle names. That's fine. If the person is still alive, provide his year of birth, put a dash, and then nothing else. So you're going to put the exact same thing that you see there, except where it says born, you're just going to put the year that they were born. If the person has died, provide his years of birth and death. So you're going to put the year that he was born, dash, the year he died, or she died. And then the last one, place the names of all individuals on the tree in their proper birth order from ancestor to descendant. So meaning the oldest one on your tree should be at the top. The youngest one at your tree should be on the bottom. For most of you, if you choose yourself, that's going to be you or your sister or your brother, all right? You should be the final row of your tree. Now for me, I wasn't the final row of my tree because my kids are younger, so they are the final row of our tree. All right? All right, so I'm going to show you my tree. I filled it out. I tried to cam scan it and it came out kind of light, so you might have to squint just a little bit. But here is what I expect from you guys, and this is what mine looks like, okay? All right, so I'm coming up to the top. It says family tree for Danessa Perry because that's who the family tree is on. All right, so if you're doing yourself, your name is going to go right there. All right, and then I started with my grandparents. All right, here is my grandfather on my dad's side. He was born in 1928 and he died in 1986. His name was Mavoni Grover. My grandmother on my dad's side was Nora Barnhart. She was born in 1927 and she died in 2001. Now they were married and had my dad. My dad's name is Craig Grover, and he was born in 1954 and he's still living. So there's that blank for the death, right? There's no death year because he's still alive. So I just put a blank and then ended my parentheses. Now, my dad has two sisters. I decided not to put them in my family tree just because I ran out of room to really do much. Because if I put my dad's sisters, then I'd have to put my mom's brother and sister, and putting 4 more squares or rectangles in that row didn't seem likely. So I just kept it simple. You guys can just keep it simple if you'd like to, or you can add your aunts and uncles. That's also fine. Now, my mom, on this side, my mother's dad was named Stanley Organ. He was born in 1924. He died in 1998. And then my grandmother on my mother's side was Muriel Watts. And she was born in 1925 and she died in 1989. And then my mom, her name is Diane Organ or Diane Grover because she married my dad. And then she was born in 1954 as well as my dad was, and she is still living also. So there's no death year on that one. All right, is this making sense? Now, these two got married and they had me, and I don't have any brothers and sisters. This is the only time that if you have a brother or a sister, you should put it in your row because it's talking about the people that are closest related to you. So a brother and a sister would absolutely be put in that row. If I had had a sister, then she would have kind of branched off here. Or if I had a brother, he would have just kind of branched off here and been connected to my mom and my dad. All right, and then I brought in my husband, right? Here's Tristan Perry. Now, he doesn't have any lines relating to my mom or my dad or my grandparents because he's not related to them, right? So the lines connect to the people and shows their relationship to those people, okay? Now, we got married and now we have 2 children, right? Noelle Perry, who was born in 2017 and obviously has not died. And then Wyatt Perry, who was born in 2018 and again is still living, right? So this is my family tree. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 generations on my family tree. Now you need at least 3. So that means if you're doing yourself, you should start with your grandparents on your father's side, your grandparents on your mother's side, and then you should go on to your parents, right? Your dad underneath his parents, your mom underneath her parents, and then you and any siblings that you have from your parents, all right? All right. So remember, guys, I hope that made sense. And actually, I can show you. Family trees can get very, very complicated. Let's see if I can size this correctly. I'm going to show you the family tree that we have put together from Ancestry.com because it is much larger than the one that I just showed you. Oh, we're getting close. Sorry, I have to mess with the size of it. Ooh, you guys are going to be like, whoa. All right, so I'm going to link this. We're going to come back to my family tree and I'm going to link it to a different page. All right, so here is let's see, this is my family tree. So right now you're currently in the top corner. Right here is the entire family tree. So if I drag this down, let's see, oops. Oh no, hold that thought. All right, I figured it out. Sorry guys, took me a few minutes. Now here is my grandfather and my grandmother. Now this is their full names, Elnora Lee Barnhart and Mavona Grover. Now you can see down here, this is my full family tree so far, and we still haven't really done much with it. All right, so I'm gonna kind of zoom out a little bit. So this is how complicated a family tree could go, right? So again, here's my father's father and my father's mother, and they had 3 children, my dad, my aunt, and my other aunt. My dad and my mom had me, so I'm right here. On my mother's side, here is my mother's, nope, let's see, here is, oh, my mother's father is over here. Here is my mother's father. Here is my mother's mother. They had 3 children, so my mom, my uncle, and my aunt. Now, if you look at my grandfather's family, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boys that each have families of their own, so I could put those in my family tree too. And then my mother's family had 4 girls, so they all have families of their own, right? And then additionally, guys, my aunt and my uncle have kids, and my other aunt and my uncle have kids, and then there's me and my parents. But then my other aunt and on my mom's side has kids. Do you see how family trees can get complicated very, very quickly? There's lots of people that you have to take into account. All right? Thought I'd just share that with you. So you guys do not under any circumstances need to make a family tree that complicated, right? I didn't make that. There was a program that helped me fill in the slots and then it did it, right? That would be way harder than what they're asking you to do. All you need to do is this basic one where you're doing 3 generations at least, and you're including yourself if you're doing it about you, but if you need to include whoever you're doing it on, all right? You need to put the birth date and the death year if there's one, or if it's not applicable or they're still living, just leave that blank, okay? All right, guys, that's it for reading today, our last lesson. Don't forget you do have your reading log tonight. It'll be your last reading log though, all right? All right, guys, I will talk to you guys soon. Goodbye.